Hey, Depressed Dior here. If you guys have made it this far, that means you are ready to hear more about this playthrough of Final Fantasy Tactics. So, right now I have loaded one of my saves that I've been working on, and I just wanted, this video is going to be kind of explaining a little bit more in detail about what you can do with classes and abilities, just for people who are not familiar with this, with the game itself. And then I will go into some of the expectations I have for this playthrough as far as what you guys, the viewers, will be hopefully providing for me. So, let's go ahead and just pull up some characters. We'll pull up Ramza here. So, I am playing this on an emulator, so there are going to be glitches, so just be aware of that. So, as you can see, there's like little empties and things like that. That's just the emulator, don't worry about it. Anyway, so if you look over here, Ramza right now is he's currently a knight, and I can manipulate 4 different slots here. The top slot is the primary ability based off whatever job class you are, so in this case I'm a knight, so I have the battle skill. The second slot is of course your secondary skill, your secondary job skill. In this case I have the items ability from the chemist, so this knight, Ramza is a knight who can use items. This thing here is reaction abilities. I mentioned this before. They're on that little chart that I showed off, and I'll probably include links for. Anything that's labeled with any skill that's labeled with an R is a reaction ability, and it's usually done in reaction to various things. So in the case of Weapon Guard, it increases your evasion based off your weapon's evasion rating, and it's triggered by weapon attacks. So anytime Ramza is attacked, he will add his evasion of his parry sword, which his parry sword right now is 40% evasion. So it gives him a significant physical evasion boost when he has this particular ability. And then the next thing is a support ability, which will be labeled as an S in that chart. Support abilities can range from giving you a raw increase, such as like attack up, which increases your physical attack for all physical attack abilities. What Ramza has right now is Concentrate, which is a marksman ability that makes it so he ignores evasion when using physical attacks. So essentially he's a knight that has 100% accuracy with his normal attacks. He also has a higher chance of succeeding with break attacks thanks to this, because Concentrate ignores evasion. And yeah, and also the final ability slot is your movement skill. Now, the most common one, of course, is like raw increases to your movement, such as move +1, but other ones you can get, of course, include move find item, which makes it so whenever you land on a spot that has an item, you'll pick it up, and you'll get some free stuff out of it. There's some, of course, other ones like move 2, which are just better versions. There's also jump 1, which will just, instead of increasing your horizontal movement, you can increase your ability to jump up elevations, and things like that. So, pretty standard stuff. But yeah, so the point is, I can learn any skills that I have job points for that particular class. For example, I have 258 job points. I can learn any skills that are bolded right now. Some of them I already know. There's also other ways you can get skills, usually by collecting crystals, which I'll talk about more when I actually start playing this game. But notice, as Ramza is a knight, but the only ability that is knight related that he has equipped right now is battle skill. Item is of course a chemist ability. Weapon Guard's a squire ability. Concentrate is a marksman ability, and move +1 is actually a squire ability as well. So you can actually mix and match skills from multiple classes to kind of make your own unique little build. Also, something I didn't really mention about support classes, they also include abilities such as changing what sort of things you can equip. So for example, Kanako here is a priest. So for her gear, she's equipped with standard robes and light armor and a staff and stuff like that. But she also has a buckler equipped, and that's because she has equipped shield as her support ability. So this makes her a little bit better, gives her a little bit more survivability against physical attacks coming her way. Pretty useful. She also has Weapon Guard on top of that, so the staff she's equipped with gives her 20% evasion, the shield gives her additional 13% evasion, and then she has an additional 20 evasion thanks to her class and accessory, which gives her essentially 53% evasion against physical attacks and 20% evasion against spells. Pretty useful for a caster, because casters are rather squishy. But as you can see here, she has white magic because she's a priest, but she can also use items because she has chemist abilities. Same thing for Yorihime here. Yorihime can't actually... she's supposed to use katanas, but I have her equipped with a sword right now because I don't have access to katanas because this is chapter 1. So I just wanted to point that out as far as like flexibility is concerned. So, and if I want to, I can always change classes. I can be like, okay, well, sorry about that. I've been having some little bit of issues where the sound will stutter. I don't know if it's because of the emulator or because I'm recording with Fraps. I don't know. It's probably a mix of both. Anyway, so yeah, I'm just pointing out that you have a lot of flexibility. You can pick things and choose things from multiple classes, even if you pick a specific class to be your primary class. So, with that being said and done, let's go ahead and talk about what I'm going to be doing for this playthrough. Anyone who saw my previous playthroughs kind of knew what I did originally was I allowed people to kind of vote or make decisions on what characters I would use and how I would use them. So Ramza, I think I took control of and just made him whatever, and then everyone else kind of picked and chose various classes, their names, and all that good stuff. So the way this is going to work is very similar to how it was before, but I'm going to be kind of adding some additional things. So for right now, this video here is going to be for Chapter 1. So I'm going to be going through all of Chapter 1 with whatever you guys throw my direction. So if you want me to start with samurais and stuff like that, you can definitely have me do that. Now, of course, there's limitations because Chapter 1 doesn't have katanas and Chapter 1 doesn't have spears, but if you want me to use those classes, I will use those classes to the best of my ability. Also, that being said, as we progress through the game, I will ask for additional feedback and input from you guys for what to do with the characters. Perhaps change what classes the characters are, or use an entirely different character that has, you know, their own set of abilities. And as we progress through the game, we'll of course get access to very unique characters such as the Holy Knights and things like that. And so if you guys want me to mess with those characters, I will open a vote for that, and I will start using them if necessary, with whatever adjustments you guys want to throw my way. So, to put simply, for this Chapter 1, it's going to be very straightforward, because there's no special characters or anything like that. There's just Ramza and a few guests, which you guys don't get control over anyway, and just a bunch of generic characters that we can create how we want. So, the way it's going to work is, at the bare minimum, if you guys want to cast some, if you want to have some poll on what's going on here, you need to give me a name, a gender, and a class. At the very least, those 3 things. And you can't just say, hey, pick a physical class, or pick a spell class, or pick whatever I want. I have my own save for doing whatever the hell I want. This is what you guys are going to make, and seeing what I can do with it. So, give me a specific class. So if you, instead of, don't say any spellcaster class, be like, okay, I want you to play an oracle that focuses on debuffs. In fact, that's even more information I could even ask for. To put simply, I mean, the more detail that you provide, the more fleshed out your character will be. It'll be like, making a D&D character. So, for example, if you want me to be a priest, I can definitely be a priest. But if you want to be a priest that has, equipped shield, or be a little bit more focused on being like an actual cleric that focuses a little bit more on melee attacks and things like that, just tell me that. Be like, hey, I want you to play a priest that has equipped shield and weapon guard, or things like that. So, yeah, the more detail you give, I mean, heck, you can be as detailed as you want. You can be like, okay, I want you to be a ninja that has steel, weapon guard, concentrate, and move +1. I'll be like, perfect, I will do what is necessary to get those skills unlocked and that class unlocked, and I will go through it. Now, be aware, obviously, if you've watched my previous video, you'll know that some classes have a lot higher requirements, such as the ninja and the samurai, and I guess you can consider the lancer. Which means I will have to get more job points, which will in turn usually mean I'll get more experience points. So, for example, Sakia here is level 15 compared to, Ramilia, who was like level 10 a while ago. And Ramza is only like level 8 because I level 8 and 9 because I wanted just to make him a knight, and that was it. So, yeah, just be aware it might mean I will get more higher level, which for the most part, it's going to make some of the story fights maybe easier because some story fights don't level up with me. But for some encounters that are just purely against monsters, it might make it harder. So I'm not too worried about it. If you really want me to be a sage on Chapter 1, I will do that to the best of my ability. Or if you want me to make a mime or something like that. But I just want you to be aware that Chapter 1 does have some limitations. Obviously, they only go up to a certain level, and obviously my gear is not going to keep up with that. But, and of course the other limitation, of course, is Chapter 1 doesn't have access to as much gear as the other chapters. So obviously no samurai swords, no ninja swords, no bow staffs or books or lances or anything like that. But like I said, this is up to you guys. Give me a name, a gender, a class, and as much detail as you want as far as how you want me to build that character. Now, if you really want me to go like really widespread, be like, you know, a class from one branch and getting skills from the other, it will take me a bit longer to get those skills unlocked and things like that. Because I, of course, have to unlock the class that has the skill, get the skill, and then switch over back to the other class that I will still have to unlock. But I'm not too worried about that. If necessary, I will make adjustments and maybe just do a gradual change, or I might just push your recommendation to a later vote. So the way the later votes are going to work is after I finish Chapter 1, obviously some stuff will change and I'll probably get access to some new characters and things like that. I will go ahead and put up a video asking for more information. Being like, okay, well, do you want Remilia to remain a Lancer or change? Or do you want me to swap out a character? Be like, okay, well, we have this other character that's setting out that we haven't been messing with. Like, you've got a monk here. We can swap her in and start using her instead. So, obviously, you can give me that sort of feedback, or you can give me new characters altogether for me to build up and start using. Now, I think I was pretty just lenient on it in the previous playthroughs. If I just didn't get enough information or I got impatient, I just went ahead and just kept going with what I had. But in this case, if I don't get any information for every character, at least the 5 I'm currently been using, I will either swap in for a different character from a different from a vote that hasn't been used yet, or I will randomize it and I'll just roll some random numbers and just change the class that way. So your participation will ensure that your character doesn't get changed in any odd fashions. And it also means you can evolve the character based off what you've been seeing how they perform throughout the game. Ramza is also on the table, so anyone who wants to just specifically pick Ramza for their character and want to adjust their stuff, by all means. If multiple people do it, I might end up having to like swap between the two or something like that. We'll see. Ramza, of course, is going to have to be part of every story battle, but he does not have to be part of any of the random encounters. And of course, there's some story battles where it's just going to be him fighting, so just be aware of things like that. And besides that, that is pretty much the gist of it. So yeah, you know, name, gender, class, and as much detail as you want to give about how you want me to build that character. And I will be asking for these votes as we progress through the game. And as for the game itself, I will not be really showing very much story stuff. I might give a brief overview once I like start a video or something like that. But the main focus on these videos are going to be on the combats themselves. So all the story combats, I will probably show a number of random encounters as well to kind of show how they're different compared to the base game, and possibly some areas that might be safer for grinding. Because there's definitely some random encounter locations that are very dangerous, especially in the late game. So I will definitely point those out as we go through. And as for alternate content, I will still do side content to unlock characters. I'm not sure if I'll do the Zodiac Cave or whatever it's called, but I do intend on getting through the entire game and hopefully beating the boss this time. If I do reach a point where I am literally stuck because just the way we're set up is just incompatible with what boss we're fighting, I will deal with it when it comes. If that problem comes, I will deal with it. I will make my adjustments and just go from there. So, like for example, there was a boss fight I had to literally just make a bunch of summoners and mimes and just blow them up because I couldn't beat them with my normal setup. It's a bit frustrating, of course, in some cases, but I'm going to go ahead and power through it. And yeah, so I know some of you guys, only a few guys comment on my videos, but by all means, be as vocal as you want and try to get your voice in. I know there's only 5 slots for a combat, 4 slots if you're counting the story battles, and one of those has to be Ramza for story battles. But know that if you do cast a vote, I will probably at least make an effort to make your character. You know, by, you know, grinding some additional characters once I hire them. Now, this video should be coming up Friday, which is, for me, it's today. you guys will have about a week to kind of make your decision. A week is probably about as far along as I can really afford to wait, because 7th Saga is about to be done. Wednesday is when I'll actually start recording Wednesday is going to be when the first combat video is going to come up. The first 2 combats in Final Fantasy Tactics, I don't have any control over what characters I have for the most part, so I will use that as kind of introduction to show off the combat and kind of explain some of the things to be careful about in the combats themselves, because they are definitely a lot more difficult. Beyond that, assuming I have enough votes, I will start my process of grinding and all that good stuff. So, well, I won't start the process of grinding, I'll start the process of getting the characters, showing them to you guys, and start the combat that way. After that, I will start the process of grinding for whatever roles you guys want me to play in. So, just to reiterate, because I've said it multiple times already, name, gender, class at the very minimum, but the more detail you give, the more likely I'll probably pick that character to show off. Like I said, there's not really any wrong answers. I mean, if you want to do some really goofy setups, I will see what happens. I mean, this game, one of the things that the people in Insane Difficulty definitely advise is don't get stuck with the same 5 characters. You know, swap some builds, experiment, try some new things. I mean, I've definitely been guilty of that myself when I played Final Fantasy Tactics, the original game, and heck, even on my playthrough, I probably was I kind of locked in some cases. But I'm hoping you guys will, you know, keep up with me in this and provide as much additional feedback as input and feedback as possible. And by all means, throughout the playthrough, even if it's on a voting stage, if you do want to make adjustments, by all means, go ahead and mention it. Of course, if you keep, you know, asking for changes like every video and stuff, I may wait until an actual voting part if it's a significant change. But if it's like a minor tweak, like, okay, well, maybe equip shield, it's not good enough for Kaneko here, you might want to equip armor instead, I can definitely do that. So, yeah. Like I said, I am the Depressed Dior. This was Final Fantasy Tactics. Come next week, I will start the first battles, and hopefully you guys will have some fancy little characters for me to play. See you guys next time.